What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, a podcast that talks about comic books, movies, TV shows, and we typically feature a beer of the week. If this is your first time coming upon us, welcome to Supernatural Friday. This is a bonus episode where every single week we talk about my journey through Supernatural. Today we are talking about the middle portion of season 4. Haven't quite finished it, but we are going to talk about episode 11 through 17 or 18. And then also on our normal shows, we talk about comic books, movies, TV shows. And if you want to follow us, hey, Hops Geek News on any podcasting platform, and then also on any social media account as well. Go ahead, follow, subscribe, share with a friend, leave a review. That's how the podcast grows. And as always, patreon.com/Hops Geek News is where you can support the show if you should feel like it. I am currently in Seattle at Emerald City Comic Con when this episode airs. There's a lot of exciting things going on, and be on the lookout for some of that stuff next week. So yeah, exciting times. My beer this week might as well be motor oil, and it's from Fat Orange Cat, and it is a 13% Imperial Stout with coffee, coconut, and marshmallow. It's pretty funny. Like the can, it's got like burritos. It's like a little pop-up shop. And they're out of New Haven, Connecticut, so they can get pretty widely distributed. My friend, he gave me this. He's into beer, and he was like, "Hey, you might like this one." So he went ahead and gave me that. And like I said, it's freaking dark, man. I was pouring it.
Well, Dean likes motor oil.
Well, that's kind of why
Feel for his baby.
I guess I kind of picked it because Dean's always eating really awful food, yet he's still so jacked. And so I picked.
Don't worry, they explain that one day.
Yeah, so I picked a beer that looked like some place that Dean would eat, like a taco food truck pop-up place. And on the can says, "Roll me one of those, cowboy," with coffee, coconut, and marshmallow. And, you know, they get called cowboys and all that stuff from here and there. And figured it was a good beer to have today. So, Lori,
well, he does love cowboys. And he did die from tacos once. All right.
It's true.
So I went to GB Bottle Shop here in Orlando the other day, and the selection was amazing. We found Great Notion. Oh, wow. We found Bottle Logic. Of course, we found Tripping Animals and all the ones we usually find. And we also found one from Pure. And Pure was one of my favorite breweries when we went to San Diego a few years back. And so we got a couple cans of different Pures. So the one I am drinking here is 8.7%. And it is called Double Dust. And what I thought was really funny when we went to San Diego is that a lot of the breweries, instead of saying they have hazy IPAs, because, you know, it's like this East Coast versus West Coast kind of thing, they're called murky. I think Modern Times had done that too.
That's weird. Yeah.
And it was funny because when I saw Pure, I go, "Oh, that was the brewery that called all their beers murky." And then I picked it up, and lo and behold, it says Murky Double India Pale Ale. So it is because this season is a lot about angels, and angels are pure, but then we learn they're pretty murky too.
Yo, okay. All right. We'll get to that because I got some thoughts. But it would appear that we have some things in red. And so
ignore those.
Okay, just kidding. We don't have any mess ups. Just kidding.
Those are my fun facts to save for when you finish the season to post on the social medias.
Oh, well, I can't read. Oh, no, I'm blind. I can't hear you. I'm blind. All right. Well, anyways, we're going to kick up with episode 11, Family Remains, which Sam and Dean tried to prevent a family from moving into a haunted house.
Or so they think.
Yeah. When that family refuses to listen, that's when the trouble really begins. It's the girl in the walls, man. And this one had incest and grossness and
girl and the boy in the wall.
Supergirl was in it allegedly. Who was she in?
She was the mom. The old Supergirl. Well, not old. I don't want to call her old, but yeah.
I was over here like, that's not Melissa Benoist.
No, no, she was the Supergirl back in the day, and then she actually plays Clark's mom in Smallville too. So she plays Kal-El's mom, Laura L.
Hello, no,
whatever her name is. Not Martha.
Martha. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Now, it's always freaking humans, man. Ghosts and demons we can deal with. Humans.
I think this is only the second one ever, yeah, where the villains are humans.
It turns out that this family moved into this rinkety old house, and the girl in the walls was actually kind of trapped there and never saw the light of day. She ate rats. Man, it was just like these episodes are always creepy to me because these are real stories that you hear about. Like you hear about people living in someone's walls or ceilings, and it's like that stuff's real. I don't know.
They did, I think, one of the scariest episodes in The Walking Dead. Like after a lot of people stopped watching it, it was they came upon a house where like the people had gone like feral. Like they weren't walkers, but they had gone like completely feral, and like it was weird. And it was from the perspective of I only remember her first name because it's my name, Lauren. What's the girl, Lauren? She's in the Eternals too. She's deaf.
Oh yeah,
yeah, like Ridloff or something.
Makari, but I don't remember her.
Yeah, she's Makari. So in that episode, though, they did it from her perspective. So a lot of it was completely silent, and it was terrifying. I felt like, but it was it was the humans that were scary,
freaking humans,
as opposed to the walkers. I mean, it wasn't. It did end up being like both, but
people are the worst.
Just humans going feral is just a creepy. Yeah, that episode gives me the creeps.
It was definitely took place at night, and there were some deaths in the family. Like Dean was really broken up that he couldn't save the brother. He was with him, and this episode's overall just pretty creepy. It's always nice to have, amongst all the angels and demons and things that we have going on in Supernatural, they throw in the human aspect of humans are just as creepy and messed up as these beings and things that we deal with.
And I think that's why they start to see the monsters as less black and white.
Agreed. Yeah. This is definitely things are getting grayer in this season. And moving on to episode 12, Chris Angel is a douchebag. The Winchester brothers start investigating magicians who seem to be using black magic after several people die in ways that recall the magician's stage illusions. And John Rubinstein, who plays Charlie in this episode, is the father of Michael Weston, who plays the younger version of Charlie in this episode.
Oh, that was cool. Cute. Yeah.
Little father-son dynamic going on there. And
it's like, who better to play younger me than my son?
I hate magicians. Magicians suck.
Are they douchebags?
They are, but
you got Barry Bostwick in this. Isn't that his name? The guy from
I'm bad with names,
Damn it, Janet. He's from Rocky Horror Picture Show and Spin City. I love that guy. So, he's great. But how funny was it when they like sent him to Bleecker Street?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, you ain't been had until you've been had by whatever his name was." He's like, "What's your safe word?"
That's right. He was because he goes there, he shows up, and that whole thing goes down, and Dean's like, "Wait, what?" And he goes, "Hold on. What's your safe word?" And it was like, oh God. That was pretty clever. This episode was okay. I didn't like it. I don't feel any really way. It kind of feels like just another episode to fill time in the season to me, a filler, if you will. But I mean, it was interesting. This guy had discovered the magic, and he wanted his friends to come along. He was like, "Guys, I'm tired of starting over. You can come with me."
Right.
I mean, but it comes at the expense of somebody else. The guy discovered the way to immortality. I don't really fault him for this. Sure, he's killing somebody. I get it. Okay. Yeah. However, would you choose immortality? I probably wouldn't, but I don't know. I probably wouldn't, because especially you have a family right now, right? They're going to die eventually. I don't want to be dealing with that. And like, if I chose immortality, then I have to watch my kids die. And if they have the kid, like that's depressing. Yeah. I don't want to be on this stupid planet for any longer than I have to be. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't do it, is my bottom line, I guess.
That's fair.
And anyways, episode 13, the after school special. Dean and Sam go undercover to investigate a series of murders at their old high school and remember their experiences there as students. All right. The number one thing that popped out to me while watching this was Dean went undercover as Coach Roth. Guess what my last name is? Therefore, I am in the Supernatural universe. I'd like to think that somewhere Dean is my dad. I would call him Daddy. Oh, gosh. But this episode, it was interesting to see how they remembered high school. Dean's always like that suave, cool. He's hooking up with girls in the closet there. And he ends up hating the school because he gets caught cheating on that one girl. Although
No.
Were they actually boyfriend, girlfriend? Anyway,
No. I think what angered him is when she was like, he's like, oh yeah, I'm living at the hotel. I can do whatever I want. And she's like, that sounds terrible. And he was like ragging on the things that he always tried to see as positives, living the life he lives. And she was like making him feel shitty about it. So, but what I thought, I had read this a while ago and I thought it was really interesting because when they do the flashbacks, you know, obviously there's a couple different actors that play younger Sam and Dean throughout the years because those kids grow up. And I've noticed that when it's from the perspective of Sam in this episode, because this is all Sam, Dean looks much older than just like, you know, they're almost 5 years apart. They're like 4 and 9 months apart or something like that.
Yo, Sam is so tiny in this. They look like they're 10 years apart.
Right. And I mean, I guess it could make sense if he's 17 and 13 or 12 and 17, whatever. But Dean looks very big and he's looking up to him, but it's from the perspective of Sam. And then there's other episodes that are from the perspective of Dean where he's not as giant and he does look at Sam as like a little kid. So I don't know if that was intentional or kind of a happy coincidence how it came about.
I feel like it might be. They didn't just randomly pull these actors to make them right. They kind of maybe put some symbolism behind it, maybe.
There's another kid that plays Dean. He plays Dean in at least 2 episodes in the future. And I thought that kid did a phenomenal job. I mean, he like nailed Dean to a T. I can't remember what seasons they are, but
wasn't really
one of them's not till like 13 or 10 or something.
Oh, wow.
But
I didn't really care for this particular Dean. Something about him really screamed 23-year-old who hangs out at high school still.
Oh, when he was the coach?
Yeah, no,
the younger version.
The younger version.
Oh, I thought because doesn't he? Is it maybe it's a different episode where he's like at least one of the cheerleaders is 18, and he's like Sam's like Dean. No, I think that was this.
It might have been, but I might not have caught that. But yeah, I didn't. No offense to the act, it just the vibes he gave off, and then I think it was just weird seeing. It seemed like there was such an age gap that Sam should have still been in middle school. While Dean, again, 23-year-old hanging out with high school kids.
Yeah. I mean, maybe because Sam's smart and he skipped a grade. Well, in some small towns, don't they have like middle school and high school together or something? Do.
It was really sad that his friend killed himself. Like that was depressing. That was sad.
That was really sad. And they had to dig up his bones, even though it wasn't him. Just
and it wasn't him.
It might be. Yeah.
Man, that was tough. I definitely.
Yeah, but that was a good twist.
It was. I didn't expect the school, but it's also like the school bully. He's never the bad guy in their own stories, right? To him, he was bullied,
right?
But he was the one doing the bullying.
Story. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
those who hurt are hurting.
Yeah, it maybe some. I don't know. It was just that was interesting. I really liked that concept. So
Sam's friend though that did kill himself, the little kid he was one of the bullies in Wishful Thinking.
Oh,
so it all comes full circle.
You got
and the Roth. Did we say who other than you? Of course, the Coach Roth,
David Lee and everybody.
David Lee Roth and Van Halen.
Roth IRA. Yes, those are the questions. Every time somebody's like Roth, oh, you related to David Lee? No, you think if I was related to David Lee, I'd be stuck in the stupid military? No, dude, I would have done whatever it is, sold my soul to learn his craft, and I would have nepotismed my way into the industry.
Yeah, people ask me all the time if I'm related to Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, clearly. I can see the resemblance right here. Obviously. Episode 14, Sex and Violence. And Sam and Dean investigate a siren who caused 3 small town men to beat their wives to death. They soon fall under her spell and wage war on each other. Was it a her?
What's a siren? So sirens tend to be female.
Yeah, but it was in the dude's body. So does that matter?
Well, the creepy thing was the actual body. So Nick wasn't the actual body. Right. Nick was just another, what Dean imagined as the perfect whatever, perfect brother.
That's right. That was a fun twist. I didn't see that one coming. So we thought for sure that the nurse lady was a bad guy, but turns out she was just the doctor lady was just trying to get that ass. There was nothing to it. She was thirsty. Good Lord. Mm-hmm. Like all the water went to her plants because she was thirsting.
But I did like how Dean's like, what is with you and these monsters? He's like, Madison and then Ruby, and Dean had a point.
Dean has a very good point. Sam has a type.
He does.
Sam
He's
has
got a little, he acts all, hoity-toity on the outside, but.
Dean, how dare you do this? Meanwhile, Sam's out here shacking up with demons. Like,
I know.
Goodness gracious, man. I don't know.
Did he cheat on Ruby with her? Because it seemed a little like.
Technically, it feels like. Do they have an open relationship?
Exclusive? I mean, if you're drinking her blood, you probably shouldn't be in an open relationship. Just hopefully use protection. Was that in this episode more than an angel blade.
Was this episode where we see that he's sucking her, or was it later on?
No, later we see that. Not in this one.
Well, we'll talk about that. That's weird. Freaking weird, man. Sam's starting to piss me off at this point in the season. Just for everybody out there, Sam's really pissing me off. He's all high and mighty, all this other bull crap. And he's really irritating me. What fun facts do we have though from this episode?
So Sam and Dean's FBI aliases are Stiles and Murdoch, who were the main characters on a 1960s TV show called Route 66. There weren't too many fun facts in this one, but I did love that all of the strippers were Disney princess names. So that was a fun little twist that they don't even mention the fact that they're all Disney princesses. Oh, that's pretty cool. Did not know that either. They had Ariel, and they said she's a redhead, 5'9". Oh. Then he said Jasmine, she's Asian. And then the last guy who's like living with his mom sleeps with the Belle.
That does make a lot of sense. I didn't pick that up, but yeah, I didn't. And the one thing with the siren is the siren spits in Dean's mouth. Boy, wouldn't I liked? Never mind. Anyways,
I like that he's like, you should have wiped that flask.
Oh yeah, you should have wiped that before you drank it. And they both become under the spell of the siren, who kind of causes them to fight against each other, and they have a lot of like harsh feelings come out, man. And Dean really carries this on into the next episode, where death takes a holiday. Sam and Dean go to a small town in Wyoming where people cannot die mysteriously. That's where they discover that Alistair, curse you, has a new plan, which threatens the entire world. They then call on psychic Pamela Barnes for help. We also see the return of Tessa. All right. The little boy in this is actually from Weeds, which debuted the same year as Supernatural. I find that to be crazy because I watched Weeds. I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched the first season. And that's wild to me. I didn't realize that that's where that little boy was from. So that's cool.
He's also Nemo.
Is he really?
Yeah.
That's Nemo? No way.
That's Nemo, yeah.
Wow. I had no idea.
Well, now you know. If you don't know, now you know. But both of them have the same dad. Both of their dads are Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And both of their dads are dead in the shows.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays a dead dad often.
Until Walking Dead, I feel like he was dead in everything. He dies in Watchmen. He dies in Weeds. He dies in this. He dies in Grey's Anatomy. He dies in
Batman versus Superman.
That was the next one I was going to say. Yep.
He really does, though. Jeffrey Dean Morgan had a type. And it was like he was typecast as that kind of person who dies. It was interesting, to say the least. This episode was fun. And it was kind of depressing because the kid was dead and his mom was just grieving. And it's like, God bless. I came here for entertainment.
You imagine if your kid just passed and then all of a sudden there's miracles all over town where nobody else is dying.
Oh, I would be pissed. If there's one, like, I would be on a vendetta against God himself at that point.
Yeah.
But as it turns out, Alistair and crew were capturing death.
Capturing Reapers, not death.
Reapers.
Death is
that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Reapers. Sorry. They were capturing
Dean
Reapers.
says you can't kill death.
Haha. And they were capturing Reapers, which is why nobody was dying. And that's why Tessa comes back to take the little boy and she gets kidnapped. And so this whole thing with Alistair, he's got a plan. That dude just will not go away. I am telling you.
I love the last actor that played him, or this actor that played him, as opposed to the pediatrician. Pediatrician was good.
Are you kidding me? This guy's voice was like,
yeah.
Okay. When we get to, is it the next episode or 17 where he finally
on the head of a pin is the next episode with him? Yeah.
Let's get into that episode because I got some things to say about this man. On the head of a pin, Castiel and Uriel ask Dean to use the torturing skills that he learned in Hell to extract information from Alistair. Dean's world is shattered when Alistair reveals shocking information, which turns out to be that Dean was the first seal. Him torturing people in Hell was the first seal.
When a righteous man in Hell
it was supposed to be his dad, like but his dad held out for 100 years, and it was him who, because he only held out for 30 years. His dad held out longer. Yeah. Turns out Dean was the first seal. He wasn't ready for that. Sam, meanwhile, is sucking blood from Ruby's arm and stuff. And
it's like, Ruby, it's been weeks. I need it.
Yeah. So this is the source of his power, demon blood. We kind of knew that, but
because it amps him up, though. It's like fresh. So what's funny, though, is I saw an interview, or the two of them were, Jared and Jensen were on Conan O'Brien a few years ago. It was right around when when Jensen opened the brewery, because it was Jared's birthday. And they were like, oh, we always have him do a keg stand or something like that for his birthday. And they brought out a family business keg. But what was funny is they were talking about how the two of them met on set, Jared and Genevieve, his wife. And they're like, well, are you going to let your kids watch this? Like, what are you going to say to your kids, when they see these sex scenes between you two? And he goes, oh, that's not the weirdest thing we've done on camera. Because he was talking about the drinking blood. He was like, I'm mute on the show. But yeah, that is probably weirder. Like, Dad, what?
Dad, why are you sucking the blood from Mom? What are we doing here?
Look, so when she took her knife out of her ankle, what did you think was going to happen?
I thought she was just giving him a knife to go kill Alistair. I didn't think.
Okay.
Because she was like, you can have it. And I was like, oh, okay. They're going to fuck and she's going to give him a knife. Cool. And then it got weird. I was like,
fuck.
Didn't sign up for this movie. This isn't the, no, thank you. It was, can we, usually that's the point where I fast forward until we get to the good scenes. And yeah, no, that was weird, man. And that's the source of Sam's power. He thinks Dean's very weak and couldn't do it. Dean doesn't have what it takes to do this. Meanwhile, Dean's out there torturing his ass off. All right.
I mean,
and what?
Yeah. Sam's just the epitome of road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Sam's an asshole, dude. Sam's got a big head. Well, but his ego is inflated because of the things that he can do. He's over here like Anakin Skywalker. I have these cool ass force abilities. I'm stronger than everybody. Until Obi-Wan gets the high ground. You just wait. Sam's going to find somebody with the high ground sooner than later. I promise you that. And, but yeah, so there's a pipe that leaks and Alistair gets free. And I hate this guy chews scenery. Oh my God. Oh my God. The actor who plays Alistair at this point loves to hear himself talk.
He doesn't sound. I saw he was in Smallville too. He does not.
That was a made up. Okay, that was my thing. It's like I'm pretty sure this is a made up voice.
Yeah,
and it was so annoying.
But it was good at the same time. Jensen had said during that scene that like he felt like he was being completely out acted because the guy playing Alistair did such a phenomenal job. I mean,
Dean couldn't get a word in.
Is to get under your skin.
Yeah, well, Dean couldn't get a word in. The guy just loved to hear himself talk. He was talking. Oh my God. He just bothered me. His voice, it was that voice he used was like, I wasn't sad to see him finally go. I'll put it to you that way.
So I'm going to go over some of the fun facts because I found the name of this episode there's always so much meaning to the names of these episodes, even when they're funny. So Cass was actually supposed to die in this, but he was just too lovable to die. So, I mean, I'm sure you know that he's not going anywhere. I'm sure you've seen posters, you've seen things, he's not just in it for one season.
Yeah, he's around for a while.
Yeah. So the episode was on the head of a pin. So how many angels can dance on the head of a pin is a phrase that when used in modern context can be used as a metaphor for wasting time debating topics of no practical value or on questions whose answers hold no intellectual consequence while more urgent concerns accumulate. So basically Uriel knew he didn't know. And Uriel's obviously the one that made it so that the pipe leaked. And there was no point in torturing Alistair because he didn't know. And so it was pointless. There was no point in whatsoever in doing what they were doing, except for to distract Dean and Cass and whoever else wasn't joining Uriel at the time, because he was the one, going after the angels. But Uriel, so the actor, he did a great job, I think. Anybody who you end up loathing, I feel like they're doing a phenomenal job. I knew from the
start that man was bad. I knew it, and I felt so vindicated. I was like,
it's when you say things and I know you're right, it's hard to not say you're right.
From the get-go, I was like, this dude has snitch, bad guy, whatever. He
was just mean to them from the beginning too.
Yeah, he was such a dick. I was like, this guy, that. And it turns out he was the one killing the angels, man. But
because only the ones that wouldn't join him.
He did play some other people. Who did he play?
So there's this little movie called The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, he was a dick in that too.
Army captain on the bridge.
He was.
He was also in the Watchmen series as Seymour. The Watchmen series was great.
Great series.
And he voiced Luke Cage in a Spidey video game. He had a lot of other credits, but I just went with this podcast themed ones.
Yeah, he was a real asshole, man, in this show. And like I said, he was killing, and him and Cass get into it, and that's when Anne shows back up. Stabs him right in the damn throat. Anna, sorry. But so she was great, stabbed right in the throat and by Uriel. But I'm telling you right now, there are more of them assholes out there, and they're coming. They are coming, which reminds me in the next episode, It's a Terrible Life.
We meet another Dick Angel.
We do. And I'm convinced he's also bad. I am convinced. And I will tell you why when we get to that point. Anyways, in a mysterious alternate reality, Sam and Dean are not related. They've never met. They work at some corporate buildings. Dean's like a higher up, middle, I'd say middle management at this point. Sam is a telemarketer or an IT guy. Like, have you tried turning it on?
Yeah, an IT guy.
And there's a string of suicides that pops up. And this is when their joint workplace is haunted. The two of them must team up to fight the ghost. And Dean's a bit of a dick. Sam's like, have you ever believed in ghosts? I have these dreams. And he was like, you ever overshare? It was cool.
Like when they find ghost facers.
Oh my God. Okay. Thank you.
Like these guys are geniuses.
I loved. So, all right. First things first, their fake last names in this are Smith and Wesson, like the Smith and Wesson gun, which is funny because Winchester is also a gun, and also the Winchester House of Horrors. Anyways, the fact that when they decided to fight this ghost, they pulled up YouTube or whatever, and it was ghost facers who were talking about how to kill. They're like the salt. They were learning from the ghost facers. And then they were like, yeah, we learned this last trick from these two dicks, Sam and Dean Winchester. You guys are still dicks though. It was, oh man, I was geeking so hard at this point. It was amazing.
It was amazing. So there were some, and I saw somebody recommended that to you on TikTok. There were a couple shorts that they did with the ghost facers. And like one of them, like Cass shows up and they go, Jesus Christ. And he goes, no, I'm Castiel. But
I did like this episode because it was cool. They had to figure things out from scratch. And Sam was like, we should do this more. What if we just teamed up and quit our jobs? Because I can relate. You find something you're good at, like this podcast. We do cool stuff with this podcast, and I'm like, I'm quitting my job tomorrow. We're doing this full time.
We don't get paid.
But then I'm like, I don't make nearly enough. We don't make anything. Like,
right.
The money from our Patreons goes right into this show. Like everything that we make, the $40 or whatever is a month, goes right into the show. We don't make
stickers and
Zoom, and maybe some travel or Comic-Con type stuff. Which
one day in the future,
maybe one day. This will help us, but I'm like, yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm not out here committing credit card fraud because I'd be caught in 2 seconds.
And I'm not very good at pool, so I can't hustle.
I suck at pool. I don't really have that one particular talent that I can hustle people in.
I mean, I guess being a girl, people don't assume that I know things about beer or comic books, but I don't know if I can hustle people for money.
We can win some trivias, I guess. We can hustle trivia.
There you go. I did win beer at Deadwoods more than once for trivia, MCU trivia, and then Christmas movie. Well, because I had some guy I told you that at Tactical, he's like, can you name all the characters on your backpack? He goes, why did you buy that backpack? I just kind of stared at him. It was a Marvel one. I was like,
sir.
Yeah, I can name them. He's like, well, what made you choose that backpack? I just kind of looked at him. I didn't know what to say, but let's move along.
Josh. Yeah. Anyways, it turns out that the another angel who was Castiel's boss was testing them and kind of helping Dean reignite that fire behind doing what he does. That guy's up to no good. I feel it in my bones. He's up to no good. Which takes us to episode 18, the last one that I have watched. The monster at the end of this book. Yeah, I've seen him in so many things, and I couldn't remember one particular thing he's in because he plays like small characters in a lot of different movies that we've loved.
Is a scene that I'm going to go ahead and spoil. It's on our TikTok. It's not really spoiling anything. So there's a scene with him and Cass, and he says to Castiel, he goes, "Come on, Constantine." And Castiel goes, "I don't understand that reference." He goes, "You wouldn't." And they just keep walking. But Castiel was designed to look like Constantine because Kripke did that on purpose.
I can tell. Like, look at the coat. The overcoat tells you all you need to know, right?
Well, and Misha Collins even like shared that on Halloween. Remember on Halloween, people were doing like fake spirit costumes, and Misha Collins posted one, and it said like Angel Constantine, and it was both of them were listed.
That's good. All right. Monster at the end of this book. Sam and Dean discover a writer who has been publishing books about them for several years, and they try to figure out how he knows so much about them. I loved the meta commentary when they're talking about there's even things about you and me in this. And he's like, what? Like together. And he's like, gross, we're brothers. Do they know that? And he's like, yeah, it doesn't seem to matter. This is like, oh God. That's
that's like real people too. I personally think that's disgusting. Yes. Because they're related.
Fiction gets really freaking weird, man.
Well, it's called like Wincest. And I think, I'm sorry, that's disgusting. Now I'm all for the Misha or for the Cass Dean fanfic. Do all the fanfic on that you want. I'm Team Destiel all the way.
There's a name?
Incest? Oh yeah. Oh, you go search Destiel. I did it one day. I fell down a quick rabbit hole. Some of it I had to go pull it back. This is way too intense for me.
I don't think I want to.
Oh yeah. Well, we have people that have followed us and commented that their names are literally Destiel. But yes, the monster at the end of the book. So you're talking to your phone. So Chuck's pseudonym is Carver Edlund, and that's a combination of the names of the executive producer and the co-producer, Jeremy Carver and Bed Edlund. And anybody watching Doom Patrol, Jeremy Carver is actually the showrunner for that. So that's probably why we've seen Crowley and Rowena and stuff.
Yep, that's true. The diner Sam and Dean eat at is called Kripke's Hollow Diner. And did they actually apologize for Bugs and Ghost Ship? I must have missed that in this one.
So this was the episode that they did apologize for. Remember Chuck goes, did you guys really have to live through Bugs? And then he goes, and the Ghost Ship? And they're like, yes. And they're like, don't apologize or whatever. But it's funny when he's like, I'm sitting in a laundromat reading about myself sitting in a laundromat. And then he goes, you just thought I was a dick.
He was like, sometimes.
This guy's good.
It was clever. I was very confused. I was like, oh, maybe he's just a psychic. But it turns out that he is. Oh, hold on. Before we get to that point, the girl that they talk to, I just want to point out, she's in a lot of stuff. She's
already been in Supernatural too. And she comes back later.
But she plays Belle in the Descendants franchise.
And she's a fairy in Once Upon a Time.
Yes. That was my main points. Had to talk about that.
She was in the episode with Linda Blair. She was killed in the beginning.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then she comes back later on too. I think as a witch, she comes back later on.
That's right. And yeah, Chuck is a prophet, comes out. He also sees that Lilith is going to show up as a Margot Robbie knockoff and
okay.
Try to seduce Sam, in which he falls for it because Sam just cannot resist demon booty.
Well, then he tried to stab her.
Yeah, okay, we'll get to there. I thought it was funny that Dean tried so hard to do opposite day. He still ate the bacon burger. He was like, oh, this tofu burger. You gotta try this. She was like, oh, I accidentally gave you the bacon burger. His car gets broken into. He still gets hit by a van and
still stays at like the Red Motel, was it?
It turns out it's still the Red. He sees the stars. That was funny. Like Sam's out here, or Dean's just out here getting poor Dean, man. Meanwhile, Sam's just being an asshole, man. And this is where Castiel shows up. And I loved this is the moment that actually got me Team Castiel more so. Was he's like, Well, if I were you, if Chuck's in danger, he has an archangel that shows up and can pretty much incinerate everybody because they're bad motherfuckers. He's like, but that's just me. Kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And I was
right.
like,
But you see why I can't help you.
Cass, you're my boy. He's like, I can't help you. However, if I could help you, I would tell you X, Y, and Z. And I was like, Cass is ride or die now. He's invited. Like, he is ride or die. And at that point, I was like, this man right here. I love it.
Well, and you saw in the past, like, he wasn't allowed to talk to Dean anymore. And Uriel even says he's like, well, he likes you. So he's not allowed to talk to you.
That's right. And he's questioning a lot of things. Like, he even went to Anna and was like, hey, I'm questioning shit. And she was like, well, you figure that out yourself.
And like, you tried to kill me.
Yeah. She's like, you come to finally kill me? He was like, no, I'm having a crisis, man. I don't know who I am anymore.
Fucking Anna.
I know. But this is what got it for me. And so Dean brings Chuck to the hotel after Sam actually, hey, yeah, I'll make this deal with you. We kill each other. Dean and I will die. Lilith knows that she's going to end up dead at some point, and she doesn't want that to happen. And so then he tries to kill her, all that stuff. Dean rolls in, brings on the Archangel, and she dips out.
But you notice too, when Dean showed up at Chuck's, Chuck is like, this isn't supposed to happen. Like, this was the first thing that wasn't written that happened. So it's the first, and then the difference was Cass. That's
right. I'm very interested to see, because they keep talking about how the Book of Winchester later on, like all of Dean's supposed to be the savior. They keep mentioning how Dean is going to be the savior. And I almost feel like Sam at this point, he can't stand that for some reason. Maybe because he has all this power and he's viewing Dean as weak right now, yet they're still saying Dean's the one that's going to save the day. Exactly. And so I think that doesn't sit well with Sam, but it's their story. However, Dean is allegedly going to be the one that saves the day, which is, we'll see how we get there, if we, how that plays out, because I know that the Apocalypse storyline is going to close at some point, and then we kind of get into the iffy years of things before things get good again. A lot of people say that, but I can't think of a single season that I was like, ugh, the next episode. Like, I never felt like I had to power through anything. And like, even there's a season that a lot of people, there's a guy named Dick Roman in that season. That's all I will say. I won't say what monster he is or whatever. And they named this guy Dick solely for the dick jokes. And like, that alone made that season, I think, hilarious. But I know a lot of people didn't love that season. So I never felt like I had to power through anything. That's fine. You can't please everybody. Right. Yeah. Well, that's where I'm at. We have 3 episodes left in the season. We have Jump the Shark, The Rapture, and When the Levee Breaks. I don't know why the next one's called Jump the Shark. I need to look that up, because Jump the Shark's I was wondering that too. That's usually when shows don't do good things. Well, it's when the show's done. It's the fawns jumping over a shark. It's when you went too far. You should have ended the show already. I don't know when I'm going to be able to finish this season. It probably won't be until next week. So just in time for our next recording, because like I said, I'm going to Seattle. I can't watch it without the wife. And I'm not going to have time to be honest with you. And go enjoy Seattle. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at. Anywhere. The show ain't going nowhere. Thanks for checking out our Supernatural Friday. And I really hope that if you guys point anything out that we didn't catch, hey, drop us a line on Twitter, drop us a line on TikTok, drop us a line on Insta, wherever. Join our Facebook group. Look up Hopsgeek News. Drop us a line there. We love finding this stuff out. We're fans just like you are. And if you need more supernatural podcasting, check out the Then and Now podcast by Chuck and The Trickster. And then also Salt and Burn This Pod is a great rewatch one, which you already surpassed them. Well, so you better hurry up so we can hang out. Yes. So there's definitely more great supernatural podcasts out there. There are. Where we just do bonus episodes. We're just pretenders, man. Go check out the real people. We'll be back. We have a really exciting week coming up. So check us out. We're going to be talking with Gem State Comic-Con. And also we're going to talk about The Mandalorian season 3, episode 1, and some news. So we will see you back next week. On the next episode.